Things change. On May 21st, 2009, the Chicago Tribune reported that Kittyland in Melrose Park would close at the end of summer. Many people were sad at hearing this news, so I asked several people about their favorite Kittyland ride. Almost everyone said they loved the roller coaster, which was built in 1950 by the Philadelphia Toboggan Company. The Little Dipper was 24 feet tall and traveled an out-and-back course of 700 feet. But for me, it's always been about the Ferris wheel. There's just something about that continually turning wheel that reminds me of the phases of life that are also in constant movement. Who hasn't been riding high one minute only to be thrown into despair the next? In fact, the only sure thing about luck is that it will change. When we are suffering, we will get through it and rise again in hope. Happiness will be regained and the wheel continues to turn. Such is life. But how did the Ferris wheel begin? In 1892, a time when there were no elevators, escalators, jets, or skyscrapers, George Ferris, a young civil engineer, was meeting with others about the upcoming Chicago World's Fair when the idea of creating a great Ezekiel's wheel came to him. It would be a 250-foot wheel with 36 passenger boxes. It would turn on a 45-foot axle, and instead of using rigid spokes, he would make a web of taut cables, like a bicycle wheel. The others were skeptical. They were afraid it would fall over in the wind or it would be unable to carry its own weight. But he built it and it ran beautifully and it did not fall, even during hurricane-force winds. Unfortunately, George Ferris died 4 years later at the young age of 38. But the Ferris wheel was a hit, and more than 100 years later, almost all fairs include a Ferris wheel. Author Julian Jaynes once said, "There is an awkward moment at the top of a Ferris wheel when, having come up the inside curvature, suddenly that structure disappears and we are thrust out into the sky for the outward curve down." Such is life.